So I have the great honor to present you today our work about Wikibase for smart cities. The work is jointly done by me, Houcemeddine, Turkey, and professors Mohamed bin Aouicha and Mohamed Hadj from the University of Sfax. So brief insights about us. So we are a public university located in the south of Tunisia. We are top-ranked computer science organization now. So we are among the top 500 worldwide and in the top 3 in Africa. So Sfax itself is the second largest town in Tunisia. It is known for its industry, for its leadership in public administration, and its hard work in science and industry, etc. So we started our path about Wikimedia-related research since 2012. So we were involved in researches related to using Wikipedia for semantic similarity and other wikis like Wiktionaries for that. And we currently collaborate with user groups and affiliates, mainly the local user group, Wikimedia TN user group, and other user groups such as Wikimedia and Library user group and Wikimedia Medicine. So we are managing now to create a research unit. We applied to the Ministry of Higher Education for that, and the research unit will be called Data Engineering and Semantics. So it will involve local Wikimedia researchers and other types of researchers that don't have, for the moment, research structure in Tunisia. So, and using this research unit, we will try to tackle new projects. And the most important one is this one about Wikibase for smart cities. So why do we need structured data? Well, in modern cities, there is a huge number of institution types. There is the hospital, there is the airport, the forest, the train station, the petrol station, the swimming pool, etc., etc. Monuments, restaurants, hotels, cafes, etc. So this institution cannot work alone. They have to work together in the context of smart city. For example, the bus driver, for example, has to know about information about petrol station, about schools, about parkings, etc. The same thing for restaurants that have to know about hotels, about agricultural needs, etc., etc. So, however, these institutions use different data management software for storing and kind of managing their data. In fact, these different softwares will cause many problems involving the lack of software interoperability and by that database interoperability and the lack of automation of the adjustment of alignment of update of databases. And the most important problem and disadvantage of this kind of software is that it is paid and it requires regular update and improvement. Well, the software itself, from the computing perspective, has its problems. because it is not fully structured for the moment. They are mainly semi-structured. So this causes the difficulty of the generation of statistical information from databases, for example, tax refund information, etc., etc. There is a difficulty of quality assessment for enterprises, and there is a difficulty of machine and deep learning of professional knowledge that can be extracted and derived from these databases. So this is a brief comparison about the current enterprise databases and the structured data. So as I said, data in semi-structured data cannot be automatically known and extracted by machine. It can be queried using a kind of query languages like SQL, but this does not support federated queries. There's also APIs, kind of codes, kind of libraries, Python libraries, but they are limited. And the most important thing is that data evaluation is difficult and requires a lot of knowledge in computing and in the structure of the database itself. However, structured data is structured in the form of triples. So that means that data can be recognized thanks to description logics. It can be queried using SparkQL, and this method supports federated queries from various databases in RDF format thanks to the IRI. So, and the most of all is that data evaluation can be easily done by automatically integrating fully structured enterprise databases with a knowledge graph like Wikidata, for example. So here in Specs, we have thought a lot about the project about smart cities. We have categorized institutions into 3 different categories. The services such as health, such as accountancy, institutions, such as the public administrations, etc., and industry, firms, and kind of institutions related to the manufacturing of stuff, and the natural resources such as, for example, agriculture institutions. So we found here the problem is that we need a data management software that can work for all these types of institutions. And because Tunisia is a developing nation, we cannot develop it from scratch. So here we found Wikibase as a free software that can be an efficient solution for us. So what's Wikibase? Well, as said in the official website of Wikibase, is that Wikibase is an open source software for creating fully structured knowledge databases, open the door to linked web data. Well, Wikibase uses MediaWiki as its front end and a little, huge, let's say, huge JavaScript interface for data management, etc., etc. Well, Wikibase applications such as Wikidata are easy to edit by humans and by machine at the same time. Its data model prioritizes language independence and knowledge diversity. So, and the other important advantage of Wikibase is that it can be exported in different formats, for example, JSON, RDF, XML, and many others. And it can be queried thanks to SparkQL, as I said before, where it can be updated automatically, etc., etc. So the data model of Wikibase application. So entities are assigned a number beginning with a letter. The entities can be concepts or properties. Well, concepts can be customers, because we are talking in the context of enterprises, products, employees, departments, sales, well, news, etc., etc. Properties can be a type of relation between concepts or a type of relation between properties. And this is important because it allows database evaluation and validation after filling the database with data. And the third type of properties is a type of information about a concept or a property. For example, an identifier in other databases, a date of birth for a person, for a customer, for example, etc., etc. So each entity is assigned labels and description in different languages, as shown in the green box, and entities are linked to each other by relations in form of triples. So as shown in the statements in blue and red. Well, and entities can include qualifiers that include where the statement or the relation is valid, and the reference that indicates the source of the relation that we had added to the database. So, Wikibase application in general has a SparkQL and Node with a user-friendly interface. It is simple to manipulate. It can generate graph, maps, well, it can generate timeline automatically, and it has many other features that make it appropriate to, for example, to make a synthesis of data or a report for enterprises. So there are other tools for automatic enrichment and validation of data. For example, API, quick statements tool at the top here, bots, Wikidata Hub, etc., etc. These tools, well, can be kind of adapted to other databases that use Wikibase as software. They are currently only used for Wikidata, but if people want to use it, they can just change a little bit of patterns and it works. So there is also a files describing the expected features for a given type of entities or relations. These files are called shape expression or checks. And these chains are important for the validation of the data, etc., etc. So Wikibase is easy to install. You have just to enter to the website of Wikibase and follow the instructions, and it works. However, there are some problems after installing the database that we will discuss later in these slides. So to sum up, Wikibase Applications are easily readable by machines and can be used in updated order databases, as we said before. They are easily verifiable and legible by machine, can be simply enriched by knowledge graph learning from database through data IT because they are sample, they are constituted of triples. So that's intuitive and can be simply validated by federated queries and description logics, for example, checks, statements related to properties, as we said before. And it is free and available online at the website of Wikibase. It does not require subscription. It is updated by many volunteers and it is easy to install. So the problems, the challenges, what we should do to make it work in the context of smart cities. So the matters is that the tools related to Wikibase were originally developed to support Wikidata. So if we need to integrate it to our Wikibase application, we have to install them from different GitHub repositories. So it will be an exhaustive work. It will be time consuming, etc., etc. Well, when there is also a problem of alignment of data between different databases, if there are many in the city, because we will have a database for each institution from the grocer to schools, to universities, to faculties, to hospitals, maybe public administrations, etc. So there is the problem about that several types of businesses need a specific data model. For example, the database for sales does not have the same structure as the database for health service. There is also a lack of discussion about the adequacy of the use of big data technology like Hadoop, like MapReduce, like Spark for the enrichment and refinement of Wikibase applications. This problem has not been discussed even for Wikidata. So there is also concern about the security and the upgrade of Wikibase and MediaWiki software, and also a problem about conflict of interest with Wikidata because several data can be relevant for inclusion for Wikidata. For example, database for culture just can be included directly to Wikidata. So there is also a problem of that several data can be useless for Wikidata, but their synthesis can be useful to Wikidata, etc., etc. So our solutions to that, our roadmap, as we said in the title, is that let first of all let all useful tools for Wikibase-driven application in a unique repository, maybe in the Wikibase website. So the second step is to define data models for each type of businesses, pharmacy, grocery, market, industry, etc., etc. And the third step is to define when data can be directly uploaded to Wikidata. The fourth step is to develop tools so that Wikibase application for enterprises can benefit from useful information that can be available in big data, for example, IoTs, social media, and Wikidata. This is important because, well, social media can give us ideas about how people think, and this will be important to choose our marketing strategies to, for example, to, to have an idea about how people think about a given topic, etc., etc. Uh, well, the steps, the fifth and sixth steps are simple. They are just tools to upgrade Wikibase and MediaWiki software to ensure security of smart city applications. And there is also about, well, let me say, the development of a centralized Wikibase-driven database for the alignment between the various Wikibase applications in a smart city. So, although these 6 steps are feasible, they are challenging because they need funding. And so we managed to participate in Horizon Europe in 2021. As you presently know, Horizon Europe is the program of the European Commission for the funding, let me say, research projects between, let me say, European countries and allied countries like Tunisia, etc., etc. So that's why I invite all the corporations and volunteers who would like to join our project, mainly from Europe, but also in other countries, to join us on our path to create this smart city project in Sfax. So these are the references. So thank you very much. That's all. Any question?
Thank you so much. That was super, they're very interesting. And tomorrow, Adam Shorland will be with us and he'll be giving a talk on Wikibase. And he was instrumental in the Docker environment for Wikibase as well. So I'm sure he'd be happy to talk with you about your use case. That's awesome. I see that Joel has his hand raised.
Thank you for the talk. Yeah, this is one of the main reasons why I attended the conference, because about 6 years ago, we did a similar experiment in New York City called NYCpedia. Basically, we pump a lot of data, open data, and then using templates, we created all these disparate data sets and linked them together loosely. And then, it made a lot of sense back then. This was before Wikibase was really launched. And I was just wondering, I mean, the funding models are different here in the US compared to Europe. In Europe, you have, the EU funding basic research that, and here it's more bootstrapping, or, you get investors. Are you proceeding with that experiment already with Wikibase? Or is this still in the proposal stage? Do you have a prototype that you're running where you get all this data? And how are you? Is there an open data program in Tunisia that you're taking advantage of to get all these data from these different industries in the city? Yeah, I'll pause there. Thank you.
Well, concerning your questions, maybe I should begin with the first one. Well, we are still beginning the project. As you know, the process of building a project from scratch takes a while, let me say. So when we finished maybe structuring the project, we kind of make a first trial of installing Wikibase on the server. Well, this is what we wrote here is the feedback of what we have done now. Well, if we would like to make this in practice, We need all people to be involved. So I don't know if I answered.
No, thank you. Yeah, you did answer. Just one follow-up to your answer is in our experiments, we found that the good thing here in New York City, they pass an open data law, so all these agencies are mandated by law to publish data, all the government agencies. So they had all these raw data that nobody knows what to do with, and we found it very good to do that. I don't know if there's an open data initiative in Tunisia, but that was a valuable source of raw data that we were able to leverage. Thank you.
Yes,
Right,
this is quite the situation. Well, what we have done now is that we try to see what are the information that are relevant for Wikidata, and we mass uploaded it. But we found later that Wikidata, well, that's tweeted, cannot include all the data, even the data about the transaction of a person from a road, in a street, in a given district of Sfax. So they are mainly interested in involving the data that can be used in kind of projects that are interesting for many people, not just 50 or 100% or for example, a small community. So that's the main principle of the idea.
Okay, I see we have one more question from Yaron.
One of the criticisms of Wikibase that people have had is that the data entry is quite difficult compared to alternative software. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's why we have to define data models first. We cannot begin without defining specific data models for every type of businesses. And we need experts for that.
Okay. But but even once you've defined a data model, how do users know the data model and know which properties they can use for which page types and that kind of thing?
From the dashboard, because they will not use it alone. That's why we have thought about this getting funds for this project, so that people can have a central, for example, institution that they can consult, and they say to them, do that and do that and do that.
All right, thank you.
So they are followed and by Wikibase experts, by wiki developers, and after that they will solve their problems, etc., etc.